So, Split is an absolutely beautiful city on the Dalmatian coast of Croatia. We spent 2 months living there, and I know that it is a very popular destination for digital nomads and people who want to travel and live abroad. So we're making this video to go through our costs of our time living in Split. Hello everyone, my name is TJ. I'm from TJ&B Traveling. Today we're doing another video about the cost of living. We've done several before. I'll put a playlist up and around for you to check out. Today, obviously, we're doing the cost of living in Split. Our goal is to show you the real truth about living expenses in Split. You're probably told that Croatia is rather cheap or it is getting more expensive. And then you're told something else also about the touristic destinations such as Split. So what I'm going to be doing is giving you a full breakdown of all of our costs. We tracked everything on a spreadsheet, or actually B did, and now I'm going to run through those costs with you. We've also created a few videos about Split on our channel and our experience there. So if you're interested, please go and check those out. I should also mention that the costs I'm going to go through are based on the expenses for 2 people who are living and spending time and meals and all of that stuff together. So if you are planning on traveling alone, that would also be something to consider, that your cost would be almost half, maybe not with accommodation, but you get the idea. And once again, as I always do with all of these cost videos, I want to make sure that you are aware that these costs are based on our lifestyle, our choices, and we understand that many different people have different budgets and different ideas for how they want to spend their lives. This is how we choose to live our lives. And I'll go into a lot of that in each category with how we categorize them and how we choose to spend our money and our time. But of course, this means that your costs, if you choose to be here and live a different style of life, are going to be somewhat different. Unlike a lot of our other traveling, our time in Split wasn't quite as touristy as we'd hoped. We did spend a lot of our time just working during the week, but we also did manage to enjoy the beaches on the weekends and did experience some of the touristic activities, but mostly we ended up finding ourselves living like locals. So anyway, with that all in mind, let's get into the video. So here's how we're going to categorize costs. We've got accommodation, house, groceries, eating out, coffee shops, pharmacy, extras, things like clothes and other goods, BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, gym, and then entertainment. As we were arriving in Split at the end of summer, we did actually have a hard time finding a suitable place to stay. We knew we would be without a car, so we wanted to stay fairly local to the beach and to the town, but we didn't want to go right in the heart of town where we knew the costs would be super high. Luckily, just in the nick of time, we did find a perfect little 2-bedroom apartment that was a 15-minute walk away from the beach and probably a 20 to 25-minute walk away from the old town. This was pretty much our last option to find something reasonable, and we were quite lucky to get it since we did manage to book it with a local rather than our usual way of booking our accommodation going through Airbnb. It actually ended up working out to be quite perfect for us, except for the fact that when we arrived there, we discovered that the apartment was on the 7th floor without an elevator, which is not ideal, but we didn't want to complain since we're already there, and we found another way to get a few more steps in. Now, because we ended up booking it quite late and it was almost peak tourist season when we did book it, it ended up costing us $974 for the entire month. That includes all of our utilities, electricity, water, etc. that we ended up paying on top of that. And again, it's not the best deal by any stretch of the imagination, but because it was a decent enough, spacious enough place and was close enough to downtown during the peak season, this wasn't that bad. Everything that we wanted was 10 to 20 minutes away. We were really local to everything, ended up being quite fine for us. And again, if we'd have booked this accommodation in the off season, maybe from like October through to April, we could have paid maybe even like less than half of what we paid for this place. But we wanted to go to Split because of the beautiful summer beach. So that's what we did. And we ended up paying $974 per month. Next, we have groceries. This was a bit of a strange time for us. We were trying to go on a little bit of a diet and lose weight. So we basically prepared a lot of our meals at home, ensuring that we always had good food to eat. This approach always saves us time and money. We do it a lot anyway because of the amount of food that we ate, but also because of the activity that we go through and the fact that we want to be living a fairly healthy lifestyle, whilst also, particularly in Split, devoting a lot of our time to work and not a lot of time to cooking and cleaning. And as vegetarians, we did find a really good variety of good options at the grocery stores that we went to, and we had no difficulty in finding delicious vegan and vegetarian choices, and were able to put a good meal plan together for us. We're very happy with this, and our grocery costs for the entire month amounted to $719.84. However, since we do eat a lot and everything that we eat is vegan or vegetarian, and some of those options are inexpensive, but then they're also outweighed by like the meat replacements and the proteins that we're trying to get in that can sometimes be expensive. The costs for you may vary wildly depending on your eating lifestyle. And of course, because we didn't go out too much, especially during the week, I don't think we ever really ate out during the week in a restaurant. This also put our costs for our food up, but drove our costs for eating out way down. So restaurants, on weekends, we would go out, maybe have a few meals at restaurants. It was very easy actually in Split to find good vegan restaurants, and the cost of our eating out was only $171.97 per month. And however, like I said, we ate at home 6 days a week at least, most meals, 90% of the time. So obviously that is a very low number. Again, it's a relationship between groceries and restaurants, but we wanted to separate them just for clarity. Next, we have coffee shops. Like I said, this was an intensive month for us working, so we did enjoy going out to work occasionally, treating ourselves to some nice fresh coffee. The coffee scene in Split is magnificent. You also get the bougie coffee shops, which are a little bit more fancy. We enjoyed both ends of the spectrum, and that resulted in our monthly coffee shop expenditure being $122.67. Big point here I must make is the closer to downtown you are, the more expensive the coffee is going to be. Coffee downtown was up to and over €5 for a cup of coffee, just like a basic coffee. Whereas obviously if you go further and further away and you go to the more local places, you'll get stuff for less than €1. Next, we have transport. So as I mentioned earlier, our apartment was really conveniently located near basically everything that we needed. We would walk everywhere. There were a few hills, but we enjoyed walking around Split. We rarely had to rely on Uber, taxis, bikes, scooters. They did have a bit of a bus service, but we ended up walking almost as much to get to the bus stop anyway. So we simply used our own legs as our basic mode of transportation. So we decided not to even bother including it here, since we only used Uber a couple times a month. So if you used it more often, if you traveled a little bit more, I guess that would cost different from you. For some reason, we just completely omitted it from our budget on this occasion. Next up, we have pharmacy, and this isn't just really talking about drugs to keep us nice and healthy. It's actually talking about things like conditioners, creams, and other things that you would also buy from the pharmacy. So with the upkeep of Beatrice's hair and potentially trying to sort out my hair, we do spend a little bit on our hair creams, but we also spend a bit on body creams, sunscreen, and other such expenses that we would get from the pharmacy. This also included a little bit of sport supplementation, like electrolyte powders that we also bought from the pharmacy just to help with our training. And so there's a few different personal care products. It's hard to sort of pin everything down here, but on average, we spent in the pharmacy $67.07 per month. And that includes all of the necessities that we regularly purchased from the pharmacy to fill our specific needs. Next, we have extras. So as digital nomads, we always come across some random things that we needed. In this instance, we had to get some clothes, some pots, some other little household items that I can't quite remember. Oh, we had to buy some saucepans to do our cooking. There are lots of other little things that we would buy in Split. This isn't really including our souvenirs and stuff, but that was also pretty minimal. For these extra items, we spent $81.94 per month on average. All right, BJJ is up next, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know if you can see on the back here, But we are Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu globetrotters. That means that wherever we go, we find places to train Jiu-Jitsu. It helps us build a community, it helps us find the locals, and it also lets us do an amazing sport slash hobby where we can take our aggression out and have some fun. In Split was no exception. We found an amazing gym with a super cool and nice relaxed atmosphere, training most nights, and we loved going there, and it was a bargain for us both. It ended up costing $91.68 per month, which is converted in euros somewhere around here. Very reasonably priced for a really quality jiu-jitsu gym. Speaking of which, our next category is the gym. In Split, you're going to find a good number of well-equipped gyms throughout the city. Probably the most famous one is going to be the Joker gym, which is located on top of a mall. It's a little bit pricey, but it is fantastically equipped out. Lots of tourists go there. For us, the mall was just a little bit too far away from our accommodation to entertain that idea. So instead we went to another really well equipped, more affordable gym. We actually highlight it in our vlogs from Split, so you can check those out if you want to check out the gym. It was very affordable, had great quality equipment, and was really convenient. People there also very friendly. We paid for this gym $51.02 per month. Obviously, we're dealing in dollars because we spent everything in euros. I don't know, I should have probably cleared that up earlier, but that probably makes sense when you see the text of the euros conversion. Anyway, that's a very reasonable price for the gym that we had access to, for the quality of equipment that we had access to, and for the location and the convenience of the Marjan gym. All right, entertainment. So we didn't do as many touristy things as we have been doing with our travels when we were in Croatia. So we didn't spend too much on entertainment. Actually, looking at this number, it's absolutely kind of ridiculous. We did go on a walking tour. We went to the cinema a couple of times. We did do a few touristy things, but the touristy things ended up being a lot of eating out and just casually enjoying the cool city of Split or the surrounding areas such as lakes, etc. Now, with that, we got free rides, and so we didn't have to pay for a tour or anything like that. So all in all, our actual entertainment expenditure apparently ended up costing us only $16.62 per month. Okay, so with all of those costs added together, our total cost was $2,297.85 per month for two people. We had a very simple but enjoyable time in Split, working there, training a lot, and more than anything, living kind of as a local. It wasn't as touristy or as glamorous as you might think, but overall, it was a very good experience. We particularly enjoyed our workspace at home, which had a fantastic view of the bay. We enjoyed our beach weekends or our beach evenings and our morning runs. And the main highlight in Split is always going to be visiting the old town and taking in the culture there. So with all of that being said, I'd like to know your thoughts. Is that expensive or cheap? On every one of these budget videos I do, I get some people commenting on how cheap it is and then other people commenting on how ridiculously expensive it is. Once again, we don't live as budget travelers, but we also don't do anything in luxury at all. We just kind of find our midway in between and settle for a routine that is workable and enjoyable for us to experience the culture, but also not spend a fortune. So yeah, I'd like to know, what do you think? Expensive or cheap? Would you live there as well? Or have you been there as well? And if you have been there, what do these costs look like compared to yours? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. It is something that both B and I really do enjoy about making these videos, is the community that we start to build in the comments below. So I'd love to hear your contribution. If you haven't done so already, the thumbs up button is also a really easy way to give us a lot of support and a lot of help. It really does help push these videos out, helps us grow our channel. And if you found this video useful, maybe I've earned your subscription with the information that we've given you. Maybe you can enjoy some of our vlogs or our other budget videos. It'd be great if that's what would interest you. If not, no worries, that thumbs up button or join us in the comments below. That also really helps us out. Thank you for making it to the end. I hope you did find this video useful, and if you did, do those things. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.